also for those who are attending this conference. And I think this is one of the practical conferences that I would like to attend always, because we have a lot of conferences about Gaza everywhere we go. We find lots of conferences about Gaza. So my topic is about reconstruction of anti-fragile universities in Gaza. And what I say here is that beside the depth of the physical destruction that is done by the IDF and the Israeli occupation, we should think also about which is we heard today, we should think about what we do about and reconstruct the life of the students and the welfare system within the university and university campuses and so on. So as we know that the IDF or Israeli occupation, they try to make our reaction to be rigid towards any, let's say, challenges. And they want us to let us, can't absorb our variability and accepting the challenges. One of the things to change any, any city or any university and any life is that we have to turn to be more semi-resilient before we go into to be anti-fragile. And this means that we have to build the capacity for absorbing more different variabilities that we're going to face. The more we are resilient, and the more we have, like Dr. Salim was saying, the more we have collaboration within the universities in Gaza and in Palestine, the more we can build this type of resilience. If we study the last 20 years, we can see that there's lots of stories and case studies that was published about the Gaza universities and Palestinian universities that are relevant to resilience, relevant to adaptability, relevant to resourcefulness, which means using the resources to optimizing the utilization of the resources. They try to do also lots of community programs that build the community strength. And of course, as we can, like we heard today in this morning panel, there is hope. There's a lot of hope. But this last 20 years experience should not be controlling also all our next plans. So we should think in different way. Now we are in 2025, and let's hope that this is the crazy war on Gaza stops, and war on Palestine also stops. But the next 20 years should be more innovative. We should learn from the past, and also this is what we call it future foresight. So here I'm trying to bring for you the anti-fragility formula as one of the solutions, and then the decentralization and modular campuses as the other solution, and blended agile learning models that is we can build and this, and let the world learn from Gaza. So not instead of Gaza learning also from the past experience, we let the world, let Gaza bring a new concept to the world. And this is what I say here, continuity amid disruption. I think what Trump is doing, it's also a learning, by the way, whether we like it or not. So he's bringing creative disruption, and I think this is also something we don't like, but it's happening to us in Gaza. So let's think about it also in this way. So what we have actually the Gaza Resilience Lab. We started it in October 2023. We published 60 papers, and the purpose of this lab is that we apply whatever we have published and whatever we have studied through a collaboration of many scientists around the world. These 60 papers talked about every discipline approximately, so it is multidisciplinary projects that cover different type of fields. The purpose of that is to simulate actually the resilience requirements for Gazans and Gazan institutions and Gazan culture and so on. It's like the collective happiness and the collective pain and how we can manage it together, so that we bring a dynamic platform. This lab also brought many forums, by the way, that is trying to bring solutions to the Gazan and Palestinian community, because we know that after Gaza, they are targeting, the socio-economic life in Palestine. For that, we call our lab mainly. There are three stages: multidisciplinary research stage, and the stage where the studies come to the field and bring solutions to the field, learning by doing, like Dr. Salim was saying, and also a stage of developing innovation models that is will bring Gaza to be, let's say, a reference model, which is can be branded and sold or taught to the rest of the world. And for that, we say our lab is getting high citations. I was saying to Dr. Salim today. So we need to publish more, because the academic community in the West is different than the community in the East. In the West, they are the thinking tank of the government. So this is a good, let's say, start for us, because we are getting a lot of engagement, and I get to know these citations, and I mean the engagement of these researchers through ResearchGate specifically, which is give you a lot of information about these researchers, and we start to communicate with them. Now, my proposal for today is that we should think not about the physical assets only of the universities, but about the other assets, the human assets, the social assets, the natural assets, and other assets that is we can help us and minimize the dependency on external funding. And also bring, as I said, a new model by, again, trying these models together. It's not by theory, it's again what we've seen from our research also. So the lessons learned from the repeated destruction with our Prof. Barakat and others who have covered that, and also Dr. Salim now he covered that. And then also beside the Gaza research outcome, Gaza Resilience Lab research outcome, and the anti-fragility approach, and how we can use it using Nassim Taleb's approach for that. This will help us to bring a new applied model, which is will help us to bring again uniqueness for the Gaza higher learning education. I would like to call it higher learning education than higher higher learning institutes and higher education institutes. So my proposal says that we need to embed anti-fragility approach in this now during the reconstruction time. The focus is now how we bring self-sufficient culture. And one of my challenges, I worked with Gaza, with Islamic University of Gaza for some time, and I taught with them online and so on. I have the Inspiration Economy program that was led by Professor Majid Farra, rahmatullah alayh. He's the vice president of that university. And I believe that one of the challenges of Gaza, maybe it is planned that they be less self-sufficient. So we need to help them to be more self-sufficient, bring more projects to rebuild the strip social capital, because now social capital, as you can see, started to be weakened. There is a fragility or a fatigue on the resilience itself. And we emphasize the collective wealth. The program also should focus on resourcefulness, as I mentioned earlier. This will help us to bring a culture that is community-based problem solving. Okay, I think it goes along again with Dr. Salim, what he was saying. Psychological resilience and coping mechanisms should be built in during, again, learning by doing program. And then we can go to sustaining global advocacy and solidarity. And then we build resilience through storytelling and the narratives that came out of that. And we have a lot of stories that is different than the stories we see in the social media. And this is very important. And then also we should bring also informal and agile learning systems. And I think I heard something today which is I like it in the morning. And then we should bring also innovative reconstruction models, exploit the youth and student activism even in the West, because a lot of students they sacrificed, and we have written a lot about these students. And then finally we capitalize on the cultural and historical resilience. That is more important than the physical structure. It might be not built the same as it is before. There might be less physical, but more actually other assets that is built around the higher learning institutes. And this can be embedded also in the UNDP, sustainable reconstruction model that was proposed for Gaza before. Through this, we should emphasize, if we emphasize this in our programs, for sure Gaza will bring a new innovation or a new, let's say, creative destruction models to the world again. So I think if we understand that and we build adaptive capacity, we're going to build a new crisis responsive education. As you know now, this is coming up a lot in the whole world. So we need to bring that, and we have published, by the way, a lot of papers that emphasize that. By absorbing actually these students, again, around the world that has been forced to leave their universities, whether Palestinians or Arabs or even Western people, we can really help them. Or even the professors and the academic professors that have been punished because of that. We can also collaborate with the leading universities through them, because they are scientists and many of them have been doing lots of good research. We know a lot of them. Besides providing sponsored chairs, I think this is one of the models. There are a lot of anti-fragility models that we can bring around, and we published, by the way, a lot of papers in this field around this issue. I think by doing that, we can exploit the intrinsic power of Gaza and we can raise what is the Spanish economy talks about. We should not focus on supply versus demand, because the Israeli occupation or the IDF will not let this happen easily. Instead of people waiting and sacrificing and suffering, let's think about capacity versus demand. And we have a lot to do about capacity. The Palestinians are a good, let's say, story and raising their capacity, but they need to be guided a lot so that they discover their hidden opportunities. I think by this we can really establish a good anti-fragile system, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohamed. Also, exactly on time, so I greatly appreciate everyone keeping the time. We will prepare the next slides. Our next speaker, Dr. Mohamed.